Hey everybody, how you doing? So as part of my Get to Know Me series, I am going to tell you today about my books. I have, right now currently, I have over 20 books out. I started publishing in 2011, very late 2011, so it's been almost 4 years for me. So in the last 4 years, I've put out a little over 20 books. So this is my first book. It's called Masquerade. And this is actually the old cover. This is the original cover of this book. Probably like a year or two ago, I had the covers redone on the whole series once the whole series was complete. I just don't have any of the new cover in my office right now. I sent the last one out to a reader who really wanted it. So this is the old cover, but it's very similar to the new cover. So if you go looking for it, you'll know it when you see it. But this is called Masquerade, and it's the first book in my Heaven and Hell series. And it's a paranormal young adult series, and it's about this girl. Her name's Heaven, Heven. That's why it's called the Heaven and Hell series. Her name's Heaven. And she's in the book, she's disfigured. Obviously, she's not on the cover, but that's kind of part of the book. She's disfigured on the left side of her face, and she's very self-conscious. She's a 16, 17-year-old girl. She's in high school. She's trying to make it through high school. All these things have happened to her, and now she's totally disfigured, and people whisper about her behind her back, and she's really self-conscious. And what really haunts her is that she doesn't know how she got disfigured. She had an accident and woke up in the hospital and was left with all these permanent marks and reminders of something that she can't even remember. So, she starts out in the series as really self-conscious and kind of withdrawn. And as the series progresses, she gets a little bit more brave and learns to accept herself a little bit more. So, yeah, it's a really cool series. So this is Masquerade. That's the first book. That's Masquerade. And then the second book is Charade. And that's that one. And that's Sam on the cover. Sam's like the male lead. He's Heaven's love interest. And he has secrets of his own. And he knows a lot about her past that he's not telling her. So she has to figure out what he knows. So that's Charade. And then the third book is Tirade. And that's this one right here. And this is Riley on the cover. I don't know if you can hear my phone ringing. Stop ringing! This is Riley. He is another character in the book, and he's kind of like the bad boy of the book, I guess you could say. He's a really fun character, and I know a lot of readers have really enjoyed him. And just a little fun fact about this cover in Tirade. This is my husband. He's the cover model for Riley. So, yep. So that's Tirade, and my husband, who's a cover model. And then the fourth book, the last book in the series, is called Renegade, and that's Heaven and Sam on there together. So that's the last book of the series. And then the series is 4 books, but there's also 4 short stories that go along with the series. You don't have to read the short stories to follow along with the series, but it's like more background information and just a little bit extra stuff that people have really liked. So I put them all into an anthology. It's called the Heaven and Hell Anthology. See, it's got the key there. I love my keys. But you can also get each short story separate on ebook. All of these are available in ebook. They're also paperback, as you can see. All the short stories are 99 cents, and the reading order for this, if you want to read the short stories with the books, it would be before Masquerade, between Charade, and then we would do Bewitched. I have to think about that for a minute. Bewitched, Tirade, Beneath, and then Renegade. So that's the Heaven and Hell series, and that's a young adult paranormal. So it's clean. It doesn't have a lot of like the adult themes. It does have some violence in it. It's a little bit dark, but it's good for if you have a question about whether, you have like an 11-year-old or 12-year-old and you don't know if they should read it, my advice to you always for any book, if you don't know if your child should be reading it, read it first. You are the best judge to know what your child should and should not be reading. Okay, so my next series I have is, it's called the Death Escort series, and it's basically the Grim Reaper's hired hands, because the Grim Reaper, he's a busy guy. He's got a lot of people to kill, and he doesn't have time to be killing all these people. So he basically hires assassins that do his killing for him. So there's two books out in this series right now. I know a lot of you are waiting for me to finish it, but, you know, that's a whole other story. So the first book is, I keep getting backwards, is Recalled, and that's that one. It's a new adult book, but it's probably suitable for young adults. They're just, the characters in this book are college age. So that's Recalled. And then the second one is Charmed. And this is more for adult. It's got some adult action going on, if you know what I mean. Brown chicken, brown. Anyway, so yeah, that's Charmed and that's Recalled. That's the Death Escort series. And then my big series, the one that has the most books in it, is the Take It Off series. The Take It Off series is a series of standalone romance novels. They are adult. They do have some sexual content. They've got some bad language in it. And they are suspenseful. So I like a little bit of suspense, a little danger with my romance. So each of these books you can read as a standalone. You can read them in any order. You don't have to read them as I release them. They're all on different characters. They all have different scenarios and plots. So they're basically for you to pick and choose what you want to read, or I hope you'll read them all. So the first one is Torch, and that's this one. And it's about a firefighter. That's him. And a librarian. So yeah, a firefighter and a librarian. Someone's trying to kill her, and they try and do it often with fire, so the firefighter is kind of involved, and he's trying to save her, you know. So that's Torch. And then I have Tease. Tease is about a stripper. See the stripper here? About a stripper, and she's a virgin, and she gets a job as a stripper because she's desperate. She really needs the money, and she meets a bartender and a surfer, Cam, and it's their story and what happens to them. So that's Tease. And then Tempt. Ooh, Tempt. Tempt is my pilot. And this girl, she's kind of like still trying to figure out what she wants to be in life. You know, they're pretty young. But Nash is a pilot, and they end up on a plane together. He's flying, and the plane crashes, and they end up on a deserted island together. So you'll have to see what happens with that and how they get off the island. And then Text, which I know probably, if any of you know any of my books, it's probably this one. This is probably one of my most popular books that I have. It's called Text, and Text is about a girl who is kidnapped. And she's thrown into a hole in the middle of the woods, and she's left there to die, basically. Her kidnapper leaves, but she goes... Before she gets thrown down into the hole, she steals her kidnapper's cell phone, and he doesn't know it. So she's down in this hole with a cell phone, and it's basically about a text that saves her life, or maybe saves her life, or maybe you'll have to read it and find out how she gets out of that hole. So yeah, so that's Text. And then I have Tipsy. Tipsy is about a police officer and a hairdresser, and it's a romance suspense. I can't tell you every single plot for all these guys. There's so many books. I'll be here forever. If you would like to know more about the plots of each book, you can always check out my website, cambriahebert.com, and I have all the information for all these books. So my next book was Tricks, and it is about a set of twins who one twin gets murdered, and they get the other twin to step into his life, basically, to help catch the person who murdered him. And he has to live with with his twin brother's girlfriend, and pretend to be his twin, even though he starts to fall in love with his brother's girlfriend. So yeah, that's Tricks. And then there's Tattoo. This is another pretty popular one. I know a lot of you guys liked it. Tattoo is about an undercover police officer and a girl who works in a bank, and he's in the bank one day taking out money to go on a vacation and finally get some time off work, and in comes a bunch of bank robbers, and he has a tattoo on his back that just gets him and the girl in a lot of trouble. So you have to see what that's all about. That's Tattoo. I'm getting there. This is Trist. And Trist is about this girl who's kind of had bad luck at life. She catches her husband in bed with another woman, and she kind of runs off to find herself, and she ends up staying next door to this guy who's a real grouch, and every time they see each other, they basically get into a big fight. And, you know, there's a thin line between love and hate. So, yeah, that's Trist. And then there's Taste. Taste is one of my newer ones. It's about a Secret Service agent and a chef, so you'll have to find out how those two get involved. And then there's Trashy. Trashy is basically a spin-off from Tease, my stripper book that I mentioned before. You don't have to read Tease first. You can read Trashy if you want to, but the secondary characters in Tease, Adam and Roxy, this is their book. I had so many requests for this book and for these two characters that I wrote this. So basically it's about a stripper and Adam, the guy who owns the nightclub that she strips in, and how she's trying to break free of her past and start a new life. So yeah, that's Trashy. And that's the Take It Off series so far. I do plan on putting out more in the Take It Off series in the future. I know a lot of you have asked. So yeah, so look for that in the future. And then I have this kind of like, it's off in its own little world. It's called Distant Desires. It's basically about an alien. I know that sounds like you're like, what? Yeah, it's basically about an alien who comes to Earth and how he gets involved with a female here on Earth. It's called Distant Desires. I originally released it as a serial series. I've since combined it into one novel and put it out. Just a little caution for this one, guys. It's pretty erotic. It's adult. It is not for teens. So yeah, sometimes I like to call it alien porn. No? Too much? Okay. And then my last book, and this one just came out, and it's Nerd. You gotta love Nerd. Hashtag Nerd. It's the beginning of my hashtag series. It's a new adult college romance. It's about this girl, Rimmel, who is basically a nerd, and she gets asked to tutor the school football hero, the star, you know, the jock, the player. Everybody loves him. Basically the campus celebrity. She gets asked to tutor him so he can stay on the team, and they kind of get thrown into this world together, and a bunch of things happen, and they kind of fall in love. But it's not too easy for him, so you'll have to check that out. So that's Nerd. And then I know a lot of you are excited. I have Hater. That's the second book to Nerd. The sequel, the follow-up, this comes out January 12th, and that's basically a continuation of Rimmel and Romeo's story. So yeah. So that's all my books. I also have 2 short stories that are in ebook only, Whiteout and one called Blank. They are on Amazon exclusively. You can get those for 99 cents. They're just some short stories. So yeah, those are my books. There's a lot of them. I've been a busy girl for the last 4 years, and I hope that if you love to read, or if you're looking for something new to read, maybe you pick up one of my books. And yeah, so that's it. Those are my books. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.